the game?
Yeah.
All right, so this is not counting what happened this
Walk
morning,
in.
but this is going to be the. I think it might be a little bit harder, but it's going to be the average grid position. So like average.
So are you
starting
telling us
grid.
a number and we have to pick higher or lower?
I'm going to give you 2 drivers.
Oh,
Who
and
do you
pick
think is
who's
like qualified?
qualified better? Okay.
Who is qualified? Who has the best average qualifying position?
Okay.
All right. So the first one, I'm gonna give you Nico Hulkenberg or Pierre Gasly.
Was this year or all time?
This is all time.
Okay.
All time.
Yeah.
Hulkenberg or Gasly?
Okay, well, Gasly was like what? Toro Rosso. He did pretty well. And then he went to Red Bull, but then he wasn't even that good at Red Bull, though. So that's a big question for me. Nico Hulkenberg, he's at Haas, which I've always been kind of trash. They've been kind of ass and ass. But he's been...
Is that Renault?
Huh? Yeah.
Is that Renault, Force India, I think? He's bounced all over.
I feel like Hulkenberg is my lean right now, but because Hulkenberg, like Haas, yeah, they've been kind of slow, but
But this is qualifying
I don't know.
position. I'm gonna go Hulkenberg.
yeah, me too. Because Haas, they always like do well in qualifying.
All right, that's correct. Nico Hulkenberg has a 10.5 grid average, and Pierre Gasly is a 11.02. So the next one is going to be the 2 Spanish drivers, Sainz and Alonso.
Probably Alonso, right? But then he had the McLaren Honda days where he was horrible. But I think it's definitely going to be Alonso, given that he's been at Ferrari, he's been at Aston Martin. Yeah, I think it's Alonso in this case.
I agree. I don't think there's any way it's Sainz. It's got to be Alonso.
Yeah, it's Alonso.
Is it close?
It is. It's like by almost 1. Fernando is 8.6. Sainz is 9.4. Then we're going to switch over to Norris and Alonso.
So 8.6 versus Norris.
Ooh.
Norris been at McLaren the whole time. Since
But he's been pretty good at
2019, he's
McLaren.
been pretty good. 2021,
2021
he was third in the championship at the halfway point, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Considering the fact that it's an average, I feel like just Alonso's
He's been around.
time at McLaren would mess it up. But then Alonso was at Ferrari like a million times. I think it's Norris, though. Yeah, I think Norris
I'm
is
going
my
to pick
pick.
Norris, too, just because Alonso's been around so long. He was on a pretty bad Renault team after he won. Ferrari wasn't crazy a couple of years. And then the McLaren Honda, even Alpine last year. Actually, he was pretty good at Alpine, but...
So
yeah,
Norris for
Norris.
What
both
is
of
it
you.
then?
Norris.
Yeah, it's Norris.
It was Norris?
Yeah.
Oh, thank God.
So
bro.
it's
that was a hard one,
It's
though.
actually pretty close. It's Norris with... It's Norris with 8.43. Alonso with 8.59.
All right.
And the last one, we're going to move away from Alonso, but it's Valtteri Bottas or Charles Leclerc.
I feel like it's Leclerc, but I don't know. Actually, my thing for picking Leclerc initially is he's been at Ferrari and he usually qualifies well. But I think Bottas has been strong as well, and especially the Mercedes years would probably do him well as well. I think this is probably going to be... This is close, right, Tim? Do you know?
It's the closest one.
Oh, damn.
That's
by,
why.
0.07.
I'm gonna go with Bottas just because of the fact that he's been at Mercedes and And Leclerc, my biggest question of picking him is just, how many times something has broken on his car, how many times the Ferrari made a mistake, how many times has he made a mistake, how bad his car has been sometimes. I think Bottas is probably the guy in this case. But it might be, like you said, Tim, it's super close.
I'm just going to go opposite you in a chance to win it. I feel like Bottas has had a little bit more time at Alfa Romeo than Leclerc did. Plus, he had some years at Williams where they were just a midfield team. Leclerc's been at worst a midfield team basically his whole career and been contending. So just to cover him off, I'm going to go with Leclerc.
All right. Bottas has a better qualifying performance by 0.07. Bottas has a 6.95. Leclerc is a 7.02.
I own you, Charlie. This is the second time you lost.
Or 7.06 or 7.08. So it's a little bit. It's not quite as close, but it's still super close. So Kenji, you're 2-0.
I wanted to pick Bottas, but
That's crazy.
I had to do it for the game,
Well, if the way I see it, what we should do next time is if it's tied, we can just make more rounds.
Yeah, I can.
Tim, do you have a chart or